My fabulous chemistry faithful, video number 1, acids and bases. Here we go. What are we going to learn? How are we going to learn it? What's this acids and bases business all about? I've kind of heard some of those words. Big idea. So first things first, H plus and H3O plus are the same thing. Same thing. I can show you real quick. When I do H3O plus goes to H plus H2O. There we go. Water. So H3O plus is me just taking a hydrogen ion and adding it to water. So if H3O is present, we call that hydronium. If it is present, H plus is present. So we might as well learn that right off the bat. One of the big overarching big deals of this unit. H plus is connected to acids. Acids talks about the H plus concentration. OH is connected to bases, so we might as well just make those two things happen right off the bat. OH bases, H plus acids. And if you go to the reference table, you'll see a lot of that going on. We'll talk about the exceptions. They're opposites and conjugates. So acids and bases are kind of paired together. Each acid has a conjugate base. We're not going to get into AP Chem or true real honors chem and actually distinguish what those guys are, but we need to understand about neutralization reactions in lab. Okay, we're going to do those. pH scale is what's used to measure the relative strengths. We've heard of acidity, we've heard of pH, we've tested pH before, I'm sure. 7 is neutral, lower than 7 is acidic, higher than 7 is basic, and it's a logarithmic scale, which is something I hate in math. I'm not going to lie, I love math. I do not like logs. It'll be easy for us. The calculator will tell us what to do. It's fine. And we will do very little of it. You need to be able to use it. Okay, learning targets. Specifically, I can explain the behavior of acids and bases using the first theory, Arrhenius theory, and then we're going to disprove Arrhenius theory and have to expand on it. It's not all wrong, but we're going to have to expand on it. We expand on it, and then we have this alternate acid-base theory called Bronsted-Lowry. That one covers everything. There's a difference. For whatever reason, the test makes us differentiate. I can identify the characteristic properties of acids, bases, in what we call neutral salts or ionic solids. We've talked about this in previous learning. Ionic solids are generically called salts. Explain changes in hydronium concentration, H plus, for acids and bases using the pH scale. Every time I move on that pH scale, it's going to refer to a change in H plus concentration. We're going to have to use indicators, another lab. Indicators are substances that change color based on pH, so we need to be able to use them to kind of narrow in on what the pH is. Okay, I can predict two products of acid-base reaction. Again, another lab. This is titration lab. You put acid and the base together, you're always going to make a salt and water. Here we go. Okay, be able to predict. Use the titration formula to go backwards now and calculate the concentration of said acid or base. Okay. Use the reactivity series to predict which metals we're able to react. So we're going to go back into table J, and we're going to just get into a little bit of what's going on with reactivity to set us up for kinetics. Okay, with that, here is our assignment list for the unit. There are 2 labs. There is one POGIL. The POGIL is, please don't overthink it. It's going to make you look at pictures to figure out what's acid, what's base, and start to put it together, okay? And based on H plus and OH minus. And you already just learned it, so it shouldn't be that complicated. If I didn't tell you this last unit, which I was telling some classes, that these units, solutions on, starting to get more and more specific. I thought of another way to say it to you today. Solutions, very much so is the case, and now with acids and bases, the actual labs you need to do and understand, those are practical, major, huge topics in the unit to be able to do the unit stuff. So you got to be able to do the stuff on paper, do the lab, understand it, then you can answer the questions. They go together. So it's not really what happened in living environment when we had the state labs and you actually had questions right off the lab, but it's as close as we get in chemistry. They jive. And many of us say, I can't learn this way, Mill, because I'm a hands-on learner. Well, last unit was all hands-on learning. You did double replacement reactions in precipitate labs. You did the solubility curve. You depressed the freezing point of water. And then I asked you all those questions. So did the hands-on learning help you or not? There's going to be a lot of major hands-on learning for this unit, indicators lab, titration lab,
And titration lab is one of those rite of passage labs. And everybody in chemistry has to be able to do a titration. So you got to concentrate, you got to be able to do the math, and you got to understand it, and then move on. And you're going to be held accountable. So make sure you are at you bring your A game to that lab. And with that, we're donezo. So first unit, acid and base, is done. Let's get on to the next. I'm sorry, not first unit, first lecture. Let's get on to the next one and get this unit rolling.